Good morning. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Marilyn Orr, President of the club, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV, as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel and Facebook. Our club meets weekly using this digital platform, Zoom. When we meet in person, it's at Laurel Lake Retirement Community for breakfast. We hope to get back to that soon. We meet most Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. So come out to join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we are having on our local community and the world, please visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. So enjoy this meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary opens doors of opportunity.
Everyone, welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. It's good to be here this morning. Our invocation this morning is by Jim Young.
Jim, make sure you're unmuted.
Jim, are you unmuted?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I lost the screen and now I'm back. Oh, this technology. Well, good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Being in Rotary allows us to serve others. We ask that you help us remember the four-way test as we work today and every day. Help us to serve humbly and willingly as we focus on the needs of our community. Thank you for our gifts and help us to use them wisely. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jim. And now to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Jim Ahern.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Jim. Just a comment on the pledge and the four-way test before I turn it over to our president. Because I kind of can't keep track of who has said it and who hasn't, I'm trying something new. I'm going alphabetically now. So if your name comes up shortly after Ahern, I'll be asking you for next week. So just be warned. And now our president, Marilyn Orr.
Well, hey, Rod, that sounds like a system. I think it sounds like a really good system. Okay, why haven't we thought of this before? Good morning, Rotarians and guests, and a special shout out to Jeff Korf. This is the third visit that he's making to our club. And I want to make sure that he knows he's really welcomed, and we're really pleased to have him here. Jeff and his family live in Hudson, and Rotary runs deep in his wife's family. Let's just say he's been encouraged to check us out. So welcome to our meeting, Jeff, and we'll be talking with you another time. I'm so pleased to announce this morning that we have a new member in our club. Nicole Kowalski will be inducted, and we'll learn more about her next week. Next week is also the regularly scheduled Board of Directors meeting following this Zoom meeting. I'm starting to hear, this morning that several of you have obtained your COVID vaccines. My appointment is this Saturday, and I'll admit I'm pretty psyched. I've got a couple of grandkids in Denver that I haven't been with in almost 15 months. FaceTime really doesn't count. And I'd like to get together with you too, as well. Just a quick update on Liz Ramsey. She was discharged to home last night, but is non-weight bearing on that surgical foot for the next 4 weeks. So she's navigating around her home in a wheelchair and very, very careful whenever she is out and about. She will continue to have outpatient physical therapy for the foreseeable future. And please remember her in your prayers and with notes of encouragement. She loves hearing that we are thinking and praying for her. So we're going to jump right in this morning. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Kyle Patinski is the executive director of the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Summit, Medina, and Stark counties. This is an affiliate of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, the nation's largest donor and volunteer supported mentoring network. In this position, Kyle leads a team of youth development specialists that are serving 361 kids who are matched with adult volunteers in the community and for site-based programs for children through the ages of 6 to 18. He is focused on helping this organization meet its strategic initiatives of increasing its brand awareness, service delivery, and quality in its core programs, making sure that it is financially stable and working to develop a strong community board. He has a passion for mentoring and working with youth, coupled with his diverse work in community impact work that bode well for this agency. Kyle and his family live in Copley, Ohio. He lives there with his wife Emily and his 3 sons. So Kyle, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take us out and let's hear what's going on at Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Sure. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me all right?
We sure can.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate your time, and it's great to hear everyone is excited to get their COVID vaccines. I'm excited as well. So it is great. My family actually got COVID in December, so we're looking forward to never getting that again. But it's a great time to be with you guys and with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So just a little intro. Marilyn, how much time do I have? I just want to make sure I'm cognizant on that.
You say you got about half an hour.
Half an hour? Okay, great.
Yeah, then we'll throw it to questions. This
All
group
right.
is a good group for asking questions.
Super.
So be prepared.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So I've been with the agency since July. I took over the agency during a pandemic, so I can check that off my bucket list. But it's been a whirlwind now, and we're just seeing the youth in the area and all the needs that are happening right now with the youth. So I do have a slideshow that I'll present. So make sure you can see my screen here. Bear with me. Right. Oops, that's the wrong slide. All right, so Big Brothers and Big Sisters, we are the largest mentoring organization in the United States. We've actually been around for about 100 years as an organization, and it was actually founded in Cincinnati. So the Big Brothers was founded in Cincinnati, Big Sister was founded in New York, and they merged together to form Big Brothers and Big Sisters. If you look at the picture right now, what we're doing at Big Brothers and Big Sisters due to COVID is virtual mentoring. So every single time youth comes into our organization, everything is virtual right now. We are going to go back to in-person as the cases decrease. So we do have a plan. We have face masks, we have hand sanitizer, but still the onboarding process is 100% touchless and virtual. The only thing that a potential big brother or big sister needs to do in person for that process is to just get an in-person background check. And because we can't do that virtually because we can't verify identities. But this is one of our recent matches. And they just got matched about a month ago during COVID. And it's Brooke, little sister Brooke and big sister Kara. And they've been meeting virtually and just sharing experiences and just being that caring, non-parental adult to Brooke. And right now our youth are going through the ringer. I mean, we're seeing a lot of things, which I'll allude to later in the presentation. But before I do that, I just kind of want to open up with some questions, right? So some opening questions Sometimes when you know, doing these on Zoom, it's hard to get engagement with everyone. So I just want to get everyone to kind of talk. Let me see one, who made a difference in your life? And a follow-up question to that was it a long-term relationship or was it a one and done meeting? So kind of frame it like this. Like, did you go to a Tony Robbins seminar and your whole life was changed and everything was like, man, I'm on the right path now? Or was that one person that dug into your life consistently, week after week, day after day, that, you know, you were on a path and you were going to go left or you were going to go right? So let's just open it up with that. I would love to hear from you guys.
Well, I've got an answer. Someone who was really important in my life was a lady named Doris Berg, B-E-R-G. She was my 4-H leader, and I had a relationship with her for about 10 years, where I met with her monthly in a very small group of about 7 girls, and she really helped me learn homemaking, independence, public speaking, a lot of things like that, but it was through a program called 4-H.
Mhm.
That's very popular with rural youth in the Midlands of the country.
4-H is a great program, and I actually want to get my kids involved in that because I think it's great. Thanks for sharing, Marilyn. Anyone else? Well, I'll allude to a recent story. I do a lot of work with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and also the NFL. So we, for the NFL draft, we're actually going to do a big draft, and we're going to partner with the Browns and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But when I was doing a diversity and inclusion training for the staff of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we got to talking about the idea of mentorship and what mentorship looks like for the Hall of Famers. And a lot of the Hall of Famers came from a background similar to what our littles are experiencing. They came from like broken homes. They didn't have a mentor, either female or male, in their life. They didn't have anyone to really show them, like, to empower their potential and show them what they can achieve when that potential is realized. And we got to the conversation, and they talked about the idea of that one person in that kid's life. And one of the Hall of Famers, his name eludes me right now, but he was talking about the role of that one person, and he was on a path in his life. And, you know, his friends were going down this one path that led to negative life outcomes. But he had that one person. He had that one person, that one coach, that one teacher, that one community member, maybe that one 4-H leader that told him, hey, I see something in you. You got some potential there. Like, let's explore that. And it was that one person that ignited that power of potential. And now look at their life. They were going to go down this one path where they were going to go left, but they went down this other path, and now they're a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And that's really at the core root of our agency. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. Like, when we look at the problems in society right now, it's really complex. Like, oh man, what are we going to do? How can I make a difference? And I always just say, you know, if you could do for that one kid what you wish you could do for every kid, like, man, you could change that, not only that kid's life forever, but you could change that family tree forever. So now that kids are not going to be in their same situation, the kids' grandkids, all because of you and the time that you put in to their lives. And what we're talking about with time dedication, I mean, we're not talking 5-10 hours a week with a kid. We're talking about like an hour check-in, or just like talking about football in their lives, or just being like a caring adult and listening to them. When I mentored a kid in Wayne County in my previous role, you know, all I did, you know, he was a 6th grader. He was having trouble with grades. He wasn't going to pass 7th grade. And, you know, I just cared for the kid, took an interest in him. We really just talked about football and, you know, are the Browns ever going to win a game again? And that was about 2017, where we were the 0-17 season. And just from those conversations, you know, and just having an interest in the kid, you know, he started going to school more. He started getting in trouble less. He started making better grades. And now he actually passed 6th grade just by, like, you know, 30 minutes a week touching base with him. And that's really, what the core of our program is about, is just touching base with the kids and caring about them, and so on. All right, so I want to do a little briefing to you guys about what's going on with our youth and COVID-19. Because a lot of people are like, our youth are very resilient, they're going to bounce back. This is all right, they'll get through it. But we are seeing heavy indicators right now from our health providers and the counselors that we're working with. So just what's going on with our youth, we're seeing an increase in depression across the board with youth as young as like 1st and 2nd grade. We're seeing an increase in anxiety. We're seeing an increase in isolation as well. Kids are isolated. They can't really go out and play with other kids, and the life is just really confusing for them right now. Furthermore, we're seeing a decrease in calls to children's services. And that kind of triggers us to think like, hey, what is going on? Because we know that is happening, but it's not being reported. Because a lot of the times the youth, when this is happening, the mandated reporters are at the school, and that's where the majority of the calls come from. But now we're not seeing that because the kids aren't in school. And so we're seeing a decrease in calls to children's services throughout all the counties that we serve in, and also nationally as well. We're also seeing an increase in trauma to the kids about kind of everything that's going on, living through a pandemic, living through all the racial injustice issues that are happening. And also just the complex things that are happening, like the Capitol riots, and how does a youth process that right now? And especially if they don't have a caring adult to talk to or someone that's digging into their lives, it can be a really confusing time for a youth. And we're also seeing a decrease in academics just across the board. And I know the state of Ohio, we actually just repealed, I mean, there's some issues going on with the state testing, so we're not really sure what that's going to look like in 2020, that school year 2021, but just across the board, a decrease in academics, because if the kid is learning remotely and they don't have an adult to help them, so if you're like, I have a kindergartner, I have a 1st grader, and he's not quite reading yet. He's on his path, but he really can't, he's not self-sufficient at reading across the screen. So I have to be there to help him, or my wife. But if you don't have that adult to help you out, are you going to log on to the computer when you don't understand it? Furthermore, if you are the man or woman of the house, when you're in 2nd or 3rd grade, because your mom or dad's always working, and you have to take care of your kids, that makes life a little bit more complex for the kids. So youth and COVID-19, it takes a village to really help the youth right now. And mentorship is definitely part of helping, to decrease depression, decrease anxiety, and really help the youth understand the academics. We are not an academic organization. If you want to help the youth with their homework, you can, but our really core is just helping them social, emotionally, and just helping them have a caring adult in their lives. Because when you have that caring adult and long-term relationship happen, great things happen. So any questions about youth and COVID-19?
Actually, so I'm on the school board, so obviously it's our concern constantly. However, I gotta say, I've heard many anecdotal statements about, the impact, and obviously we know what's anecdotally what's happening in our district, but I was just wondering if you had a good source where someone's really sat down and, been able to get statistics, and so we could really understand the extent of issues related to learning at home.
Yeah, I'm using the national statistics that Big Brothers and Big Sisters puts out on this. We have a COVID-19 call in our state association pretty much every month to see what's going on locally. So those are the statistics I'm using, but I can share them out with you, James, if you like.
Great.
And also, we interact with a lot of the counselors in our school districts for our site-based mentoring programs. And just from our conversations with them, we're seeing suicidal ideations from kids as low as 3rd or 2nd grade. on their Chromebooks, Googling those types of things. When that happens, the counselors are alerted. And if they're in our program, they let us know what's going on, because we do have counselor reports and we do have great relationships with the schools. So this is kind of what we're seeing locally, just through our relationships with our school counselors and also with the mental health providers that we interact with on a daily basis. But I can pull the national data for you if you'd like, James.
Great, thank you.
Kyle,
Yes.
I learned in conversation with my 17-year-old granddaughter here in Hudson that she's in a program sponsored by the library, our Hudson Library, and she's got 2 middle school children that are struggling in certain subjects. Danielle didn't tell me what it was, but anyway, that's what's going on here in town.
Oh, that's great. So they're so are they using the high schoolers to kind of mentor and help the elementary and middle schoolers with their homework and things like that?
Mhm.
That's great to hear.
Kyle, this is Phil Tobin. Going back to your earlier slide, can you go back to the earlier slide?
Sure.
No, the one yeah, those first 3 are really critical for what you're trying to do, because those children may not understand what is depression. They don't know what it is. They're just experiencing it. They're experiencing the increasing anxiety and the isolation, and they may not know what it is. That's where I think it's important for your organization in interacting with those kids to recognize what they're going through and help them to understand that they do need some help, and intervening when it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. And with our organization, like we are Summit, Medina, and Stark counties, so we're just not really focusing on the urban core of our counties. We're focusing on the whole county, because right now, like there's kids that need help in Hudson, there's kids that need help in like Jackson, there's kids that need help everywhere. And like with mentoring in our organization, traditionally when people think of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, we think of like the low income youth or at-risk youth. But right now, COVID's kind of really flipped that on their head, because a lot of the times parents, maybe more well-off parents, are at home physically, but mentally they're at their job. And like it is, you know, if you have a lot of parents have dual working parents. So right now, the parents are working, they're stressed out, they are physically there for their kids, but maybe not mentally there for their kids. So, you know, when you look at mentorship, like all kids can benefit from a mentor, regardless if, you know, their socioeconomic class. So it's my mission for Big Brothers and Big Sisters just to get out there and meet the needs of all the kids in the area that we serve. And that's a big undertaking right now. So our goal is to double the agency size this year, but we are on a mission to make 500 matches by 2025, and that's really just touching the tip of the iceberg. But we're trying to work with all of the other youth mentoring organizations in the area, so you know we can make an impact on the youth, because we're going to see these impacts and indicators from COVID for years on out. So, you know, the process starts now, the process of getting out there, just talking to everyone, meeting the kids and getting those caring mentors. So if you want to mentor with us, or if you want to mentor with another organization, that's great. I'm just here to, the kids need the help now. And it doesn't take a lot of time from the mentor's perspective. It just takes that, dedication on a weekly basis to touch base with a kid and to make a difference in their life. And that's really kind of where it goes to like our mission. And our mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that they ignite the power and promise of youth. And our vision is that all youth achieve their full potential. So regardless of your circumstances or where you grow up or your zip code or your family dynamics, like there's potential in you. And our vision is that you achieve that full potential, whether it be graduating high school for the first time or going on to college or going into the trades. That's our vision, that all youth achieve that. And that really looks different for every youth. So what do we do at Big Brothers and Big Sisters? So we have a couple different types of programs that we offer. All these programs are free to the youth and free to the bigs as well as the schools. So we have a community-based program. That is what our flagship program, that is what we're known for at Big Brothers and Big Sisters, where we take an adult that is 18 all the way up till we don't have an age limit for bigs. So it starts at 18, you can go all the way up. I think we have like 80 to 85-year-olds that are bigs as well. So that's our community. So we take a community-based big 18-year-old, and then we take 18 and up, and then we take a community-based little that is ages 6 to 18, and they form a one-to-one mentoring relationship. With that community-based program, you can take, it's virtual right now, but we foresee in the next month or two to go back to in-person with social distancing and face masks. Because the data we're seeing from our organization is that kids need that one-to-one interaction in person. The virtual is great, but some kids just need that. So that is our community-based program. Our average match length for that program is about 3.5 years. That's just on average, but we have matches that last almost the whole kid's life. So I just was interacting in Fairlawn with one of the managers at a local eatery, and she was a little sister, and she was in her like 60s, and she still meets with her big sister who's in her 80s. They just went to her mom's birthday party, and her mom was 100. So that program is really based on like lifelong relationships. We also have an in-person site-based program for schools. That's similar to the program that was mentioned earlier, where we take a little from either the elementary or middle schools, and we match them up with a big brother or big sister from the high schools. And they just form that mentoring relationship. They meet weekly with their match. We go through an activity, and we bring in guest speakers, and we hold that at the schools. There is no charge for the schools to host that program. We do all the data analytics for that program as well. And we can actually drill down to the individual level data to see, what's happening with, let's just say, Johnny in terms of his academics or his attendance and things like that. But that program is on hold due to COVID. So right now we're doing a virtual site-based program with the schools. The virtual site-based program is similar to the in-person site-based, but it's just virtually. When everything kind of goes back to normal, we will do 100% in-person site-based, but for right now, we have to do a virtual site-based program right now. And that took us, we had to completely overhaul all of our systems and processes and procedures, and that is currently launched now in about 6 schools throughout our area. We also have a Bigs in Blue program. Bigs in Blue is where we match a law enforcement officer up with a little in the community, and they form that relationship. And it also helps bridge the police and community divide. We're seeing from our data, I mean, that program right there, the bigs get just as much out of it as the littles. And we also offer community training to churches, organizations, things, and also just anyone that wants to understand the complexity of poverty, and what are the barriers to individuals in poverty, so we can help serve them better. So we do a lot of community trainings as well. So what are some ways to get involved? You can become a community-based big, like I said before, or a Big in Blue. If you have if you want to get more involved in the high school side of things, we are taking applications for a college or career mentor. And that's really trying to just build up that next generation of workforce, the workforce pipeline, but also, it helps organizations out, getting kids interested in the fields that are the most needed right now. We also do couples matches. So if you do want to serve with your significant other, you can be matched as a couple and mentor a kid together. And then we also have opportunities with our community advisory council. If mentorship is something you're passionate about and you want to see us reach other organizations or other areas of our territories, you can serve on our advisory council as well. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I have one. How do you make matches? What are the factors going to how you match up folks?
Sure. So let me go through like, if you want to be a big, this is what it looks like, and I'll go on the little side, and I think you'll get a better understanding of that. So if you want to be a big, there is a 1-year time commitment, because we know that change in youth takes time. So we ask that you have a 1-year time commitment. So match activities and communication, you touch base with your big or little twice a month. So the process to become a big and a little, I'll go through right now. But the enrollment process, it is a lengthy process, and it takes as much time to get through as the big or little wants to put into it. We've put people through our process in 2 weeks. We've also had mentors in our pipeline for 6 months. But the basic core of our enrollment process is we want to gather your interests and your passions, and we want to match you with a little with similar interests and passions. So we do a lot of screening, we do a lot of interviews, really to make the best match possible. So with that match, if you are matched with a youth, we ask that you stay with that youth. If you're just not clicking right, you can be rematched, and the little can be rematched. But really, we ask that you stay with that youth throughout their tenure at our organization. But what the enrollment process, what that looks like is you inquire online on our website. It's mentorwithme.org. From there, then you will complete an application. The application is pretty lengthy. It might take you 10 to 15 minutes to fill out. And that's on purpose, because anytime you match a youth with an adult in the community, youth safety concerns can arise. So our organization, we've been doing this for 100 years. We have 100 years of data and best practices on how do we mitigate those things. So all of us go through youth safety training. We are trained on all of the aspects of youth safety, and our match support specialists who actually supervise the match, they are looking for specific things in the match that could allude to a youth safety danger. So the application, it is pretty lengthy, but that is on purpose. Then we go through your reference. So then we ask for 3 references from you. We do call your reference. We do send your references an email, and they fill out a reference sheet. We check that out. After we go through that process, you do go through a federal BCI and FBI background check. And this is for the big side. It's not for the little. And that's really just to for youth safety. And that's the only in-person thing that someone has to do for our organization to become a mentor. And our average cost of those background checks are about $47.50. And we do have a federal grant to cover those. So after that, you go through an interview. The interview we go through, we talk about your passions. We talk about, what are some goals? What do you want to do with the youth? And then we do match you with a little brother or little sister with similar interests. Same enrollment process happens for the little side of things, except the references and background check. We don't do that, but we do talk a lot with the parents, because the parents are our #1 partner in our program, because the parents, 95% of our referrals actually come from the parents themselves. They know that their kid needs, they're getting bullied in school, or they don't have a positive adult in their life, and the parent can't be that for them right now. So our parents are our #1 kind of partner in the program. So with the little side of things, they do apply, they inquire, and then we do an interview with a parent and a little. So that's a little bit about our enrollment process. Right now, it usually takes on average about 45 days to get into our program. Like I said before, it can take as little as 2 weeks. It just depends on how quick the mentor wants to get their background check done and how great the communication is with our agency. So right now we have a giant need in our community for mentors. We have about 150 kids on our wait list right now. And we have about 25 of them ready for a mentor right now. So we're just looking to, if you do want to make a difference in the lives of a youth, you can let me know. I'll put my email in the chat, and we can have a conversation on what that could look like.
What ages are you looking at right now?
For littles or bigs?
For littles, what is the age range?
So little's age range is 6 to 18. They're really all over the place, but we try to match you geographically in a geographic region. So if you're in the Hudson area, we would try to match you with a kid in the Hudson or the Akron area. And also men are matched with, males are matched with males and females are matched with females, just to use safety concerns. But if you are a couple, we can kind of, the couple can either be matched with a male or female.
We have a question about, do you receive referrals from teachers from the school?
We do receive referrals from teachers. And we actually receive a lot of referrals from counselors. So it is National School Counselor Week. So James, thank you for your counselors. But we receive a lot of referrals from teachers and school counselors. So right now we're trying to just get out and meet all of the schools, because a lot of kids right now, they need that caring adult. And half the battle is just us reaching the schools and letting them know about our program. So we are touching base with all of the schools just to let them know that, hey, we're here. The program is 100% free to the youth, and we have great outcomes. Like, we're seeing youth, they're going to school. For youth that are involved in our program, we have about a 98% graduation rate. We're seeing a decrease in drugs. We're seeing an increase in positive behaviors. So the program, it's been working and it works, but, right now we just want to make sure that we're getting the word out, because right now is a critical time for our youth, and kids need caring adults now more than ever. So that is my main mission. That's why I'm talking to anyone and everyone, because it takes a community to really make this happen.
How big is your staff, Kyle?
I have a staff of 5. So it's myself. I have an enrollment specialist, and I have a program director and 2 match support specialists. So right now we have a staff of 5, but as we grow and get more matches into the organization, I foresee us adding more positions.
And where does your funding come from?
So our funding comes from local foundations. We also receive federal and state and local grants. We also receive some funding from the Charity Bingo program through the Ohio Attorney General's office. And then we also receive funding through individuals and sponsorships through corporations.
Kyle, you said that 95% of your kids are parental involved children also.
Mm-hmm.
What about those kids who don't have the support of their parents? Do you find that the outcome just isn't successful enough to continue with? Is your success rate just not worth, I don't want to make it sound like not worth the child, but not as the success rate doesn't, isn't there? Is it not worth taking the few people that you have and spreading them around to those kids?
So let me, so if the parents aren't as involved as we would like them to be, so a couple things come to my mind with that. A lot of the times that can be a youth safety concern for us. So if the parents aren't completing the surveys, or if they are not, if they're not interacting with our agency, because we ask the parents a lot of questions. Anytime you interact with an adult and youth in the community, the youth are so new and they don't understand like what is abuse, and they could hide it. So we need the parents' involvement. So if the parents aren't involved, or if they're scattered in their communications, we have to have an honest conversation with them, because that creates a liability for that youth. So sometimes we actually have to cut that match off, just because the parent's not communicating with us, and we have the best interests in the youth in mind. So if we can't professionally supervise that match, and we're not getting communication from that parent, like a potential abuse can be occurring, and we have to make sure that youth is safe, and that is our number one priority. Seeing some other questions. Service learning options for youth, seniors, and 18. Yes, we can definitely do that. Service learning options, we could make that happen. Do you have sessions for mentors to share ideas and experiences? Yes, we do have sessions for mentors to share ideas and experiences. We have a Facebook group, and we also send out trainings to mentors basically every other month. We just did a training on trauma-informed care. We also just try to do we used to do a bigs night out where we would get together with the bigs and go out to have dinner and just talk about things. COVID put that on hold right now, but we were looking to get back into that once things kind of go back to normal. So if you don't want to be a big, or if you don't want to serve on our community advisory council, there are some other ways to support Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So you can always support us financially at mentorwithme.org. We're also looking to do sponsor matches. So this is if you're working at a business or you own your business, and you can actually sponsor a match, and that will actually give you quarterly updates on the match. You have social media exposure. You'll have a custom picture to showcase at your place of work, and you also just receive kind of like updates on how the match is going and their interactions with them. So those are just some ways if you want to support us like that. Right now we are looking for mentors, great community partners. We're also looking for people. We do these events monthly called Keep Kids Connected. It's really events just to give kids a different experience during COVID and just get them connected with other kids. So we're looking for guest speakers, on any different range of topics like entrepreneurship, or just how, your journey on what happened and how you got to where you were at. So those are some different ways to support us here locally. All right, and I alluded to some of our outcomes. We do a lot, and this is just our measurement. We do a lot of different surveys just to show our data from our program. We do a youth outcome survey, a strengths of relationship survey, and some other surveys just to show our outcome. But what we're seeing right now is, we're seeing great outcomes from our program the longer the match is matched. So that's it. That's all I had to present. I just want to open it up for any questions.
We have one question coming in from John Adams. Is there a number to call or email?
Yes, I'll put that in the chat. So here's my email.
Are some of the matches made with children who might be homeless? Are you finding?
I'm sorry, what was that, Marilyn?
I had a question about children who might be homeless or captured in that level of insecurity, housing insecurity. Are you finding that that's an issue that your agency is forced to deal with?
Yes, so we are seeing right now a lot of our matches are transient, really due to COVID right now. A lot of our families are back and forth from houses, and right now to serve youth that are homeless, it's really hard to do that for our organization because, if you look at, we do partner with other organizations. So we want to stabilize that youth life first before we focus on the mentoring relationship. So if you look at like kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like we got to meet the food, water, shelter first, and then let's work on the mentoring and then the social emotional things. But if those basic needs aren't met for the youth or family, like we got to start there. So we do partner with other agencies and organizations to make sure that that is happening for the family. And then we go on and start the mentoring relationship. Are we partnering with any other youth agencies to serve the youth that aren't matched yet? Yes, we are. So we're partnering, we go to out of school time networks meetings in Summit County. So we get to interact with all of the youth agencies there. But also we are looking for other partnerships. So even churches or organizations that, hey, if you see youth in the community that, they need a mentor or they just need that caring adult, please let me know and we'll reach out to them. Time commitment for a big is a year. That is the bare minimum. but there's no maximum. So once the youth is 18, we can provide services up to about 21. But once they're 21, you can continue to meet with your little, but it just won't be supervised from our agency. What are the kinds of activities that the mentor or mentee engage in meetings? So right now, virtual, sometimes the youth and a mentor or mentee, they play games. Sometimes they FaceTime, sometimes they write letters to each other because they're sick of looking at a computer screen. When we go back to normal, what bigs and littles tend to do is that they sometimes will go on hikes with their littles, or they take them to the art museum, or they go to the Cavs games. We usually every year we get tickets to the Cavs or the Charge or the Browns, and we take a big group of people up there, and just to see these kids' faces, they've really never been out of their neighborhoods, and a vacation for them is to go to maybe like Akron or Canton, to take them up to the Browns and to be at the tunnel and everyone shaking the players' hands. I mean, that's a huge experience. So our organization, we try to provide experiences to the littles to the bigs free of charge, but they can, it really just ask your little, what are you interested in, or what do you want to do this week? And you can take them out for a hamburger, or take them out, to experiencing, other things, even as simple as the library, to look at other books that maybe they're not interested in, to expand their horizons. So that's just a couple things that we have done.
Not to put Nicole on the spot, but we have someone who's a big sister, and I was wondering if maybe Nicole can describe some of the specific activities she's done both pre and post COVID.
Hey, yeah, of course. I have my daughter here with me, so sorry if she's loud. Before COVID hit, my little Adriana and I took her to the Y to go swimming. She really likes to go swimming. In addition to that, I've just done things like she wanted to go to a specific restaurant. She wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse because she doesn't go out to eat a lot. So we had like a really fun day where we did that. For Christmas last year, she had seen girls on Instagram who had fancy fingernails. So I took her for the first time to get her fingernails painted at a little nail salon. Those were all really fun experiences, but some of those, the Y was free. You don't always have to take them to things that require you to pay for it, like the nail salon. Like we've definitely just gone and walked around the downtown areas and window shopped in like the little shops. So a lot of the things that we do have no cost to them, but occasionally I'll take her and do something fun like getting her nails done. Right now, we primarily FaceTime. She did have COVID, so I took her a care package when she was sick, and we will meet up very briefly to do things like exchange Christmas gifts, which we did this year, and that was really cute. So it's hard though with the weather. We used to, when COVID was a lot better over the summer, we would sit on her porch and we would do activities on her porch. But now that it's cold, we are primarily just FaceTiming and we'll play games. There's different apps and different games that she likes to play. So I'll play those games with her.
Nicole, how old is she?
Adriana is 10. And I've been with her for probably about 1.5 years now.
And where is her home?
She lives on the east side of Cleveland. So at the time that I applied for the program, it was a while ago, and it took me a while to get matched because my first match fell through due to custody issues. So at the time that I first applied, I was working in Cleveland. So it was really convenient for me to be with the Greater Cleveland branch.
Great.
And, if you are a big, we do offer, a perk to being a big is you do get a free Y membership for Summit County, where you can take your little to the Y and do interactions. Then you also, if you are in Stark County, you get a free Y membership there. The regularity of meetings with your big and little, we ask that you meet at least twice a month. That's the bare minimum, is twice a month. We ask that you don't, when we go back to in person, you can touch base once a week in person. We ask that you don't touch base more than once a week, just due to like if you are doing in-person activities, once a week is where we kind of put that at least minimum there. Excuse me, the minimum is twice a month, but you can see your little once a week if you like.
Are the majority of the children coming from single parent homes?
Yes, so right now it's kind of mixed and divided. So we're seeing the majority of them coming from the single parent homes. But right now with COVID going on, we're actually seeing an increase in dual parent homes.
Do we have any other questions?
Kyle, I just wanted to make a comment. I think that this has been a really great presentation. It's probably sparked a lot of interest among our membership. It definitely intrigues me, and I can see some others in our group would definitely be motivated as well. So I'm glad you did this morning, and I think it's going to have legs.
Great. Yes. And if you have any questions, or if you're on the cusp of like wanting to do something and you're not sure, you can always give me a call. I put my name and number in the chat. My name, we're also on our website. It's mentorwithme.org. I'll put that in the chat as well. And in terms of the Hudson area, right now, until I get to interact with the schools and the youth serving organizations right now, I can't really put a line on the Hudson area in general, but I can definitely get back to you on how many kids are needing those services. But right now, just in general, we have about 150 kids on our wait list. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg right now. As we continue to dig deeper into COVID and interacting with more schools and more organizations, I foresee that number to double or triple. So, it takes a village to help these kids. I think we all kind of play a part in that.
James, I'm having a little difficulty with my mouse this morning. So I see that we've got a few new messages, but unfortunately I can't see them. Could you help me with that, please?
Hey guys, I just want to jump in and say one more thing. If anyone's considering this and has questions about what my experience is like that I didn't answer today, go ahead and reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer it because I really do love this program.
I just want to, so Marilyn, Kyle's actually been very good about scanning the messages and addressing those questions. So thank you, Kyle, for doing that. Also, and Tom Tobin's also on the board. This program is absolutely fantastic. And just so everyone knows, we actually do have lots of other touch points and programs and check-ins that we do with the kids in the schools. When we offered school lunches, we actually offered that to all the kids, no questions asked. So there's a lot, but really just like any other issue, there is no one answer to it. And so to have big brothers and sisters available for our kids and the kids in the county is in around the area is just fantastic. So, but just want to make sure everyone knows that it is part of a whole series of different programs that we have available and reaching out to kids as well.
Tom, can you please unmute yourself?
I wanted to thank Bill Libby for mentioning that your granddaughter is involved in a mentoring program through the schools that I wasn't even aware of. James, I didn't know if you did or other members of our club knew either, but I think this is this is something that I love seeing done within our school system. And I want to learn more about it. I want to talk to Phil Herman a little bit more about this and hear from the folks that are executing it, because that's in addition to what Big Brothers and Big Sisters is doing as well. But the more of this, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Mimi.
Kyle, tell me the difference between mentoring and tutoring. I have a wife that's a longtime learner and former teacher in the Hudson school system. So she's saying there's a difference between these two things, Bill.
You're right.
Yeah. So mentoring is really like you're caring about the kid, you're building that relationship up, and the focus of the conversation and the focus of the interactions doesn't necessarily have to be academics. So with mentoring, like we do see increase in academics, but if I can't put a pinpoint on my program to say, you know what, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is going to make a difference in third grade reading levels for the kids. We want to make a difference in third grade reading levels for the kids. Like we need to work on getting third grade reading tutors for the kids. But with our program and our academic outcomes, like we're going to see the kids going to school more. We're going to see the kids socio-emotional, their skills being better in terms of relationship building. But tutoring and mentoring, you could do kind of the same thing if you structure it in a particular way, but really what we focus on is the social emotional aspects of the kid and seeing those outcomes.
Thanks for making that point. I may have blended those two together.
You had your hand up for a moment there. Can you please unmute?
Okay, what I was going to suggest with respect to the Hudson school system before we get Phil all in searching around, I think that may have been related to service learning because they had to adapt a number of the service learning assignments this year, and there may be a more engagement because the kids aren't in school. And that may be the way Bill's granddaughter got involved, but I would certainly check to be sure how she got to the, to that program, because I know those kids are using some different kinds of community service domains.
This is through the Hudson Library.
Yeah, but they're using service learning students.
She's not. Today she's being interviewed.
Okay. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she's in the National Honor Society, so.
I just want to mention, only because all three of my kids, and I think a lot of us here, our kids went through the system. Hudson's been wonderful at doing this for years and years, because I remember when my kids were little, that in various aspects of their programs and things, they did interaction between grade levels and particular students with the little guys and stuff, just to encourage that care and learning and stuff. So I think Hudson's been on top of this in some form for many, many years.
And that's great to hear, because, I remember when I was a kid, I was getting bullied. And if I would have had someone in high school to say, hey, Kyle, you know what, it's going to get better, that would have made the world difference to me. So it's great to see those things happening in Hudson.
We are getting very close to ending, and I have one last question. Kyle, who is your oldest big brother, big sister? Who is the oldest person? Can you give me
We have an 85-year-old as a big sister.
There you go. There you go. Okay,
So,
thank you so much for issuing that challenge to us.
yes.
That's wonderful. We're getting ready to close, so thank you so much for your presentation. I can't believe there are 150 kids waiting in queue. I think we all have our marching orders. So next week, we are planning a club assembly with a report from the Strategic Planning Committee, and we will be inducting Nicole. Now, also remember that after that meeting, we will be having a board of directors meeting, and any active member is welcome to attend. And it's anticipated that it will conclude at 9:30 in the morning. And so we're going to close today looking back in history as to what actually happened on this day. In 1863, Samuel Clemens first used the pen name Mark Twain in Virginia City, Nevada, in a newspaper article. In 1876, Albert Spalding invests $800 to start a sporting goods company, manufacturing the first official baseball, tennis ball, basketball, golf ball, and football. And that company remains. And then going back to that conversation we had earlier about taxes, in 1913, the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified. bringing in federal income tax. So I always used to tell the physicians I work for, it's a privilege to pay taxes, gentlemen. It's a privilege to pay taxes. So with that, we wish you all a good day and thank you. So let's